Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Paige, and I would like us to look at how we prepare for something we dream about.
That's really interesting. What sorts of dreams are you thinking of? Like a vacation or participating in a play or sports?
Yeah, anything we would like to accomplish. For instance, I always wanted to go skiing, and so last winter I rented the equipment, had my dad teach me a little, and now I can ski.
That's incredible. And you know what I just realized is if we want to prepare for something great, we should first prepare well and then go for it.
Yes, absolutely. And if I can add on one more thing, we should always pray about it. If we want something to go really well, partner with God and ask Him to guide you.
Today's big idea is God equips us for great work. Let's check out today's God story and see where that will take us.
What time of day did God create Adam? Just before Eve. Hey everyone, it's Alyssa. Welcome to today's God Story. So a couple weeks ago, my brother was hosting an event on the weekend. And so during the week, he got me and a few of our other friends, about 10 of us together, to help prep for this event. And one of the things that we needed to do was cut out 120 name tags of the people that were attending, except he brought 2 pairs of scissors. Now, you can imagine that didn't go very well. 10 people, 120 name tags. We did not have the equipment at all to get the job done. It's too bad when we don't have the tools or items that we need to do something. We aren't equipped to get done what we need to get done. But that's never the case with God. And that's today's big idea. God equips us for great work. Let's recap where we are in this series. We're in a book called Exodus, which is the second book of the Bible, and we're following Moses and God's special family, the Israelites, on their journey to the Promised Land. Now, before this, they were enslaved in Egypt, but God chose Moses to lead them out of slavery. On their journey to the Promised Land, God gave the Israelites the 10 Commandments and made a covenant, which is a spiritual commitment between God and His people. Today, we're going to hear about the commandments and instructions that God gave Moses to help them live the best way that they could. We're in Exodus chapter 35, where Moses got all of Israel together and told them a whole bunch of things. Moses told the people that while they can work for 6 days, they should rest on the 7th day. God had also instructed Moses to take up an offering of things from the Israelites, supplies to make a holy tent, things like gold and silver, linen, yarn, oil for lamps, spices, incense, jewels, and a whole bunch of other things. Then he said all the skilled workers should come and help make all the things that God had commanded for the holy tent. And let me tell you, this list was long. So people brought loads of offerings, and the women with special skills spun yarn. Then Moses said that God had chosen 2 special craftsmen to lead all the artisans and skilled workers. These 2 men were filled with the Spirit of God and had wisdom and understanding to do what needed to be done. They were also really skilled with making carvings and sewing things and making patterns out of gold and silver and bronze. They could set stones really well, and they had the skill to teach others how to do this too. I love how God equipped them with special skills to do what He had commanded them to do. Let's read what Moses says next. Bezalel and Aholiab must do the work just as the Lord has commanded. So must every skilled worker to whom the Lord has given skill and ability. They know how to do all the work for every purpose connected with the sacred tent, and that includes setting it up. Now, every day as they worked, people continued to bring offerings, materials for the tent. They had so much that they actually were told to stop bringing materials. So with everything they needed, both the items and the skills that God had equipped them with, they were able to build this holy tent. The rest of Exodus 36 tells us all the intricate details of this holy tent. This wasn't your average camping tent. It was a beautiful place for God to meet with His people. In the following chapters in Exodus, we hear about all the things the Israelites made for this tent. They gave God their very best, working for His glory. And the really cool thing here is that God had given them what they needed, equipped them to do this great work. Now, what does this have to do with us? God is still equipping us for great work. We might not be building this big, intricate, sacred tent, but we do have a mission to spread Jesus' love, His good news message with the world, And God equips us to do that. We might all have different skills and abilities, but when we work together and use them for God's glory, we are able to do amazing work. God equips us to love Him and love others. I am so glad that God equips us for great work. So let's go do some of that great work this week, and I'll see you next time.
Hey friends, turn to the person next to you.
And answer the following questions before the time runs out.
Question time! Is there a craft that you are great at making? What skill do you have that you really enjoy using? In today's story, God picked two special craftspeople to lead the artisans and skilled workers. Their names were Ben and Jerry, Abraham and Sarah, or Oholiab and Bezalel. Oholiab and Bezalel. God gave Oholiab, Bezalel, and their team what they needed for the work. He equipped them. How does God equip us now to love others well?
Game time! Groundhogs! Can you say the key verse before all the groundhogs drop? Get ready! 3, 2, 1, go! Say it with me. My faithful God, answer me when I call out to you. Give me rest from my trouble. Psalm 4, verse 1.
Wow, Paige, I thought you prepared well for skiing, but God gave the Israelites such a detailed plan for the holy tent. It's amazing.
Yeah, and on top of that, He gave them the skills to do an incredible job with the tent. He fully equipped them for everything they needed.
And you know what? God still does that. Let's check out Dejehan's story and you'll see how God equipped him for great work.
Dejehan, musician, artist, where does the story begin though?
So my story begins in the north end of Hamilton. It was a low-income neighborhood. A lot of people weren't really aspiring to do great things, right?
Yeah.
And my mom, she was a single parent as well. We didn't really have a lot of money or anything like that. I decided that music was something that captured me from when I was really young.
Yeah.
It's almost like it chose me. I auditioned for the jazz band when I got to grade 9, and I didn't get in. I failed. The music teacher, he came, saw me down the hall, and he notified me that the person who did get in wasn't able to make the rehearsals. So he gave me a shot. Yeah, so here we are. This is the ARC recording studio.
Wow, this is amazing.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
So where'd you find out about this place?
Well, my friends Julius and Andrea, they built this place. This is their baby project. So yeah,
for sure, I
we
see that.
record here.
Yeah, it's beautiful, comfortable. So you graduate high school, next step, where'd you go?
Auditioned for Mohawk College and failed again. Didn't get into the first year music program. It just took me right back to, grade 9 when that happened. Then I decided, well, you know what? Didn't get into the first year program, but they allowed me to get into the prep program. And that's where I learned about Berklee College of Music. I saw that they were the #1 contemporary music school in the world.
Wow.
And I said, that's exactly where I want to go. And then I also found out that they offered a steel pan program. And then I got in.
That's amazing.
It was in Boston, Massachusetts, so that means I was gonna have to move.
Yeah.
And then also, it was a very big price tag. And even with the partial scholarship that I had gotten from the school, I still had to come up with the rest of the room and board, but also to be able to show that I had the full amount in my bank account for 4 years.
Wow.
So the community rallied around and they showed their bank statements to come up with the large amount that I had to show. And that was just, again, another God wink, because my mom didn't have that money in her bank account for sure. So
that's so cool to see how God's kingdom surrounded you with love by doing that step of showing their bank statements, because that's scary sometimes, you know, that's crazy.
exactly, yeah, definitely.
So you went in for steel pan, like, let's check it out.
So I decided that I wanted to give back to my community, and I came back after my first year at Berkeley for my summer holidays, and I started a camp. The camp was called Musicapalooza, and we still run it now. So that's heavily, you know, what my summers consist of.
Okay.
Musicapalooza across Ontario now. And on top of Musicapalooza, I also do the motivational speaking. So I get to go all over the world and travel and speak to youth as well as, you know, the young at heart, sometimes corporate as well.
What are you doing now? Like, we're obviously at a recording studio. Do you like record stuff, do those things?
Yeah, so I'm a recording artist, songwriter. So this is home. You know, recording, and then I'm also a performer. So once we get out of the studio and we've created and, you know, we've recorded everything, then it's time to get onto the road and, you know, actually perform.
Now you're at a place in your life where, you know, you're doing camp. You saw God work in some areas in your life, and, you know, now where is he in all of this?
God equips us for great works. And I see that in so many different areas and facets of just my life story of going to high school and failing, you know, at getting into the jazz band at first, and then the same thing happening again at Mohawk, you know, but then learning about Berkeley, and always just having these little hurdles. But that even though we have the talents that he gives us, and even though he equips us, we still have to also work.
That's amazing, man. Well, thank you for sharing your story, and it's so cool to see God working in your life and still working in your life, and, you know, using you as a kingdom grower, and it's amazing to see that. So thanks, brother.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I love Dejehan. What a cool guy with a beautiful heart and so much talent. I don't often see someone playing steel pans, but what a cool instrument.
Absolutely. And you know what stood out to me? That Dejehan could look back at the hardship and what he considered failures and see how that prepared him to do something special.
God often uses difficulties we go through to help us grow and appreciate the talents and skills we have. And as Dejehan said, God equips us for great work, but we have to work hard and develop those skills and talents.
And he did. Dejehan is making the most of his talents. He's giving back to others and showing them the love of Jesus. Well, let's break into our small groups now and see how this looks in our own lives.